Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Adventures in Business Live. I'm Amani. This is Mandy. Mandy, how are we doing today?
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy April. Amani, I'm doing great. I'm coming off of a high from the weekend because I did my girls' dinner. And, I wasn't able to do the girls' dinner last year because we were out of our house because we were renovating and now we're back in. So I had my inaugural in the renovation, but I had my girls' dinner. Normally it's 6 to 8 girls. It was 12 women.
Wow.
Which was fantastic. So I do this because I love to set a table. I love to cook, but as you know, I don't have time to really do this that much. So to dedicate an entire weekend to preparing for it and setting up for it and is a lot, but it is a great joy. It's a great joy to be able to give back to these amazing women in my life, but it's also a great joy just to sit around a table and cackle with all of them. So everybody came over at like 4:30 and we did like a 4:30 to 6 kind of happy hour. We had a Sandy, my friend Sandy, who's a sommelier. She actually brought the wine and then she did a wine education for everybody, which was really cool. And then we had the theme was wear something in your closet that you have no occasion to wear it to. And so because everybody has that thing in their closet that you have nowhere to wear it to. So I wore this crazy disco one-piece jumpsuit that I had for many years and it's never fit, but now it fits, but it looks super weird. It's like something's wrong with the stitching. I still would never wear it out in public, but it was fun. And then I wore this butterfly bolo tie that I had and then a flower crown. So everybody got up and they told their story about what they're wearing and why they've never worn it and why they've kept it. And then and we just had a blast. I had perimenopause gift bags. So like everybody got to pick like their protein, their travel collagen protein powder packets and their little their fan, like there's mini fans and all these little things and put in a little bag. It was awesome. And I just am so grateful that I am surrounded by these rad women, like some of them had just finished a renovation. Some of them had just had a promotion. One of them had retired for a year, temporary retirement, and is going back to work. So it's just, a lot of them are in the thick of it with their kids, either preteen or teenagers or college and, coming back home after college. So it was awesome. My cup is full and my cheeks are still aching from sitting around a table with all those ladies.
I love it. Well done. Good.
Yeah.
Well,
I was thinking about you though. I was like, what girl here can I fix up with Amani? And Amani, there weren't any, but
It's okay. The
I've
thought is
always
all
got
it
my radar
counts.
up. I've
I
always got
love
my
it.
radar up. Yeah.
I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it
Yeah.
so much.
What
This weekend,
about
I was in
you?
Phoenix. I was in
Yeah.
Phoenix with our good friend Larry Long and Jasmine Stringer.
Hmm.
3 speakers. We did a mastermind. Also met up with Tiffany Higgins, who I know from back in MPI days. So it was good to visit people in Phoenix. I missed out on hanging out with Julie Holler. She was previously committed, but I love
Aw.
going to Phoenix, and it was nice weather. The women's Final Four was there when I was there.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so that was interesting too.
Did
I
you
didn't go to
watch
a
it at a
game.
bar or anything? Like,
No, I didn't go to a game, but I saw South Carolina beat UConn, which was good. That made me happy because I'm not a Geno fan, and he proved why afterwards. So yeah, yeah, that was good. So
that's
I was
good.
happy. Yeah.
What happens
Um,
at your mastermind? Like, what is this self-generated? Do you have a template you follow? What goes on with your mastermind?
we had an agenda: wins for the first quarter, revenue goals, opportunities for like improvement, and then we had kind of some big stretch goals that we walked through, resources. So it's a nice agenda we walked through. So yeah, it's good.
Nice. That's awesome.
Now, class is going to be in session today.
Yes.
We have a very interesting guest with us. Tell us who he is. Introduce him, and let's get him to the stage.
This is going to be the best podcast we've ever done. We have an AI expert who's been using AI since day one. He's a high energy speaker. He's a super positive human. He zaps you with his contagious, happy energy. He helps high performing leaders grow with AI like the top 1% likes to grow and likes to be. He is all about the human first approach to AI because when you create from the heart, you win. And so I am really honored to bring Rob Cressy to the
Yeah.
stage.
So
Welcome, Rob.
give you a round of applause. We give you a round of applause here, so you should hear the applause coming. Oh, maybe not. But anyways, we gave you the round of applause. It's on there, so we're good.
Mandy, Amani, thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, yes. We're excited to have you here. You're there on the screen. I do have to ask you though, because tonight I'm going to practice. Tell us about your first improv experience.
Oh, I love this. So I lived in Chicago for more than a decade, and it just so happens when I lived there, I moved directly across the street from Second City in Chicago, the world's greatest comedy training center. At the time, I was running a sports marketing agency called Bacon Sports, and we were creating original sports comedy content. And my goal was never to become a comedian by going there. My goal was to learn this skill set and how a comedian thinks and learns. So when I rolled up to Second City that very first day, and it's a very unique place because it's very inclusive. Yes, and are the two most powerful words in improv. But Monty, you talked about sports at the top there. Sports is like speaking hieroglyphics to improv. Everybody who's there wants to be on Second City or go to Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
or be on a cruise. That's really the trajectory. But I'm a sports guy running a sports marketing agency. So I quickly learned that sports jokes did not work because they're like, ew, sports, you're one of those people. It's like the only time in my life there's 20 people in the room and I'm the only person who likes sports. But it was a great learning lesson because people who fail at improv try and think their way through it. They try and create funny jokes ahead of time. And the key to improv is all around your ability to be a good listener, to build on top of someone's conversation. And when you do, like this conversation we're having, we're all on the same team together and we're going to build each other up.
Agree. Yeah, yeah. I love it. Okay. Sports guy too. I'm going to save some of my sports questions for a little later because my first question is, in your opinion, we're going to get to AI right off the bat. What do you think are like the top 2 or 3 misconceptions about AI that are being perpetrated or whatever the word is in the media or just in public? Go ahead.
I don't have a tech background. I'm not a coder. I can't be an AI. Congratulations, me either. Right? The biggest thing holding everybody back right now is their own self-limiting beliefs about what they are not. Right? Because the key in AI is everything you need is already inside of you. And when you can see this, there's an unlimited ceiling in growth because I used ChatGPT the first week it came out back in December 2022. And within the first minute of using it, I felt like I used the internet for the first time. Immediately, I saw the next decade of business and I was all in. I couldn't believe it was real. It legitimately felt like magic. And I'm like looking around and I'm like, this is nuts. So the thing that limits most people, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a tech background. I'm not a coder. I don't have enough time. I sit there and I'm like, y'all are crazy, because the key is, are you coming from an abundance mindset, AKA growth mindset, or a scarcity mindset, right? That's the whole thing. If you see AI from the lens of opportunity, you're in the game. If you see it from, I don't want to get left behind, or I'm not this or that, not going to work for you.
All right, Mandy, why don't you, I know you like to go to the Wayback Machine, but I'm going to defer to you. Take it away.
Okay, cool. I first of all, it's a funny story. Over the weekend, I was researching for the show and I was listening to a lot of your older podcasts. And my husband's like, wow, that guy's got a great sports voice. He said, that guy, I'll listen to that guy talk sports any day. So I wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was funny.
Yep.
But I wanted to ask, how do you go from sports analyst, content expert, right? Which is where you were before here. How do you go from there to running your own AI agency?
So in my life, there's been several pivotal moments in which everything changed. The first one was when I left corporate America to go all in on living my dreams of getting paid to talk about sports for a living, right? So multiple six figures to $0, built a sports marketing agency for a decade. COVID hits. And you know what's challenging? To talk about fantasy sports and sports betting as a professional host and to market with brands that want to market to sports fans when that doesn't exist. And I had a choice. I could either die like the rest of the sports industry, or I could step into my true calling of being a coach. I never in my life set out to become a coach. Some people are like, oh, maybe I'm going to try and be a coach this year. Never on my life resume, not part of what I did. But entrepreneurship is the greatest personal growth and development program known to man. So over the course of what is now 16 years, I've turned myself into a high performer because I wasn't this person. 15 years ago, I had no self-awareness and no growth mindset. I didn't know how to read books. I didn't know how to speak from stage or do any of this stuff. So I had to create myself into this person. So when I got to the question of, would I rather spend the rest of my life slinging sports betting or slinging helping people? The answer for me was helping people. And that's when I stepped into being a high performance coach to help people be better at business by being better at life. And all I had to do was reverse engineer the last decade of my life on how I turned myself into this person. So I was doing that for several years. And then it gets to that moment where I used ChatGPT for the first time. And once I saw that, there was no going back. I was like, this is one of those things. Because how many people would say, if I was only there when Facebook was invented, or when YouTube started, or when Google Ads was a thing, I would make so much money. Hello, this is that thing. I just so happened to touch it on day 5. And that from that, I couldn't stop using it. So I legitimately, my goal was to try and break it. So I wanted to see, can I push it past the limits of what's possible? So the first thing that I did, and remember, I have no experience in this whatsoever, none at all, was, all right, let me see what I used to get paid to do in my old life. So I used to get paid to create social media strategies for brands in the world of sports. So I'd get paid $5,000 and it would take me about 30 days to create a written social media strategy, because so many companies have it in their head or an intern does it. They legitimately don't have anything written down. And in using ChatGPT for the first time in the first week, I created a social media strategy in 5 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, everything is going to change. And then I did a Google search, ChatGPT coach, ChatGPT mastermind, ChatGPT course. And guess what I found? Nothing.
Yeah.
Not a single thing on the internet. So legitimately, within 60 days of using ChatGPT for the first time, I was already coaching people, entrepreneurs and leaders, on how to integrate ChatGPT into their business just by doing it for myself first. So naturally, as a creator, what I did was I created a private Facebook group that was just ChatGPT for entrepreneurs and creators. And all I did was share what I was doing and building, right? So it was straight earned confidence and lived experience. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And none of this ever existed before. So that grew into something to where I was like, all right, let's create a group coaching program. And then very quickly, my one-on-one coaching went from high performance coaching to, Rob, we want you to help coach us with AI. And once that happened, I never looked back.
I love that. You've said that most people barely are scratching the surface with AI. What are two things you think people are missing the most right now?
Number one, listen to this, write this down. It'll change the next decade of your life. Personalization. So ask yourself this, whether you're using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever it is, ask yourself, have you set up your custom instructions in the platform that you are using? So actually, Amani and Mandy, I'll ask you guys, have either of you set up your custom instructions or even know what that is in ChatGPT or Claude?
Yes, for Claude. Yes.
So I haven't done it personally in Claude, but we've done it for the show in ChatGPT. So we've got very specific personal instructions in ChatGPT for this show. But no, I haven't done it for myself. This is a great question.
Okay, so this is the difference between having a ChatGPT or Claude that is just like buying something off the shelf at Best Buy versus having the one that understands everything about Mandy. Which of the two versions do you think would operate better today? And which of those do you think will compound moving forward?
I mean, the one that knows everything about Mandy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, simply put, you're like, but Rob, how in the world do I do this? I don't have a tech background. I don't know what I'm doing. Go into ChatGPT or in Claude and say, hey, I need to set up my personalization and custom instructions. I want you to ask me the questions that I'm going to answer that I need to put in there and copy and paste. And since I know nothing, tell me where to go to do this in the first place. Brrr, you do that. Because what you're going to quickly learn then is there's in the game with personalization, and then there's levels to the game. Because you can just say, I'm Mandy, this is what I do, boom, leave it at that. Or you can say, this is who I am, this is my brand voice. Write down 7 to 10 words of this is what I sound like. Engaging, fun, witty, but brand safe, personable, conversational. Oh, now it knows a little bit more about me. And then you could say, oh, well, what's my word of the year? Oh, gold. Or you can say, and then you just start looking at all the things. So those levels is how you put your essence into AI. Remember this for the rest of your life because AI is not going away. There's one thing that AI will never have: soul. So your ability to infuse your heart, your soul, and your essence into the way that you interact with AI changes the game completely. And this is how you can create a version that nobody else has. And most people have no idea any of this exists because, Mandy, every single time I do a speaking engagement, 100 times out of 100, I have the audience raise their hand. How many of you have set up personalization? And you know what I see? Crickets. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there on stage and I'm like, this is nuts. And you guys think that you're using this. And it's like the difference between personalization and non-personalization is like two different planets.
Okay. So I got some follow-up questions. Also, shout out to the Poe Politicking Show who says, hello, Rob. I guess you know him. He knows you.
My man, Poe. What's up, Poe?
Yeah. Poe's in San Diego also. Also, hello to Angela Bohannon. Hope I said your name right. She's in Southern California. Now, when I'm speaking or I'm on podcasts or getting interviewed about the music industry, AI comes up every time. You just mentioned the word soul and essence. What is your opinion on these AI artists that are charting and taking up spots on the charts where humans are being replaced? What's your thought on AI in music in the industry?
welcome to the game, right? Oh my God, I'm so romantic about the way that everything used to be. Welcome to innovation, right? You can either cry yourself a river, or you can say, well, wait a second. How could I use this? Or what if I don't use it, right? So it's misplaced focus. We all have the opportunity to choose how we see the game of AI. Some people say, listen, I love music. This is what I do. I'm going to stick to what I'm doing right now. Cool. Let the chips fall where they may. But if I decide after this podcast that all of a sudden I'm going to start to use Suno, I'm going to create my own beats and my own lyrics, and I'm going to go and do that thing right there, and then all of a sudden I get charted on there, well, whose fault is that? Because this is attention 101, right? So do people want to listen to it? Is it good? Yes, but who created it? A human or AI? Irrelevant. The game is the game, right? So you can go and say, I don't like the way that this is, or you can see this as an evolution, because you know else, you know what other time in music industry everybody got all riled up? When Skrillex started doing all of the DJing for the EDM. It's like, you can't use a computer with this. I loved the Avicii documentary on Netflix. You got such an appreciation for the artistry of how he did things, right? Some of the most popular songs in the history of the world. Yet, are we supposed to say, because he used a computer, that he is not an artist? He is not a musician? No, because everything is an evolution of everything. So you can sit there and be romantic and woe is me about it, or you can get in the game, or you can just say it's irrelevant to me because you got to get better. It is what it is.
Okay. Now, I'm curious, what were maybe the top 2 or 3 learnings you had from your 1,000, actually more than 1,000 days of daily AI practice?
A lot of them. You know, the simplest way that you can audit where you are right now in AI? Time. Because time is the most honest assessment of what you're actually doing. So I just want you, and when I say you, I mean everybody, to answer these 2 questions. Number 1, how many hours a week do you use AI? And then number 2, how many hours a week are you learning AI? That right there is going to tell me everything I need to know about where you currently are. Because AI is completely unromantic about who you are, what you do, how much money you have in the bank, and how much experience you have. So if you're a music record producer and you've got millions of Grammys and all of that stuff, it does not care. You can have $1 bajillion in the bank, does not care. You can work at McDonald's, it does not care. What it does say is, show me your receipts. Are you using this? Because here's the thing that is the advantage for all of this on this call right now. If you are willing to put in the work and learn and experience AI, you can literally do anything in the world. This is no different than learning how to ride a bike or learn how to play guitar. What do? You get a bike, you're like, I don't know what to do. Let's pop training wheels on this thing. Let's use the training wheels for a little bit. You're like, wow, I don't need these anymore. Pop those things off. Cool, now I'm riding a regular bike. And then 1 year later, you're popping wheelies. Yet somehow everybody thinks just because we could use Google on day 1, that AI is the exact same way. No, you earn your confidence from experience. So if you're sitting here at 0 right now, here's the simplest way to frame this. Get in your first 20 hours. That's it. You will learn more from 0 to 20 than you will at any other point in your life. And understand that's just part of the game. Because eventually you're like, oh, I do this, and I do this, and I do this. But so many people are just sitting there on the sideline saying, well, this isn't for me. I don't have enough time. Or this is the way that we used to do things. Everything's changing. If you want to get on board, that's how we can do it.
Wow. Shout out to Lori Kime. She's here listening too. So what's up, Lori?
Hi, Lori. And everybody drop a question. And this is such a golden opportunity to ask Rob a question. So drop your AI burning questions in the chat. So I want to get into the practical application of this. you just did a really interesting exercise where you canceled a whole bunch of tools and platforms you were using, and then you swapped it out for other AI tools. So, can you just tell us about this exercise and what you discovered?
Yeah. So I'll give you the macro and then the practical micro version. Here's the macro level for everybody in terms of your mindset and approach to the AI era. Your success moving forward in AI will be show me your tool stack. Meaning, what AI tools are you using? Because by design, AI tools are going to help you get things done faster or easier or better. Some might not say better, but that's the design of all of these things. It's going to make everything better for how you do it. So when I'm advising my clients, I literally say to them, listen, in a given month, you might spend anywhere from $150 to $700 a month on AI tools. They're going to be a variety of $8 to $20 to $50 to $200. And you're going to try some, they're going to work. You're going to try some others and they don't work. But part of the game is testing out to see what works. Because Amani, in the world of music, if you've ever used Suno for creating AI, it's creative. So by design, I was pushing how I feel about music. How I really feel is the creative side of things. I'm an artist. I'm a creator. I love to create. So when I saw that someone without a musical background could write lyrics in ChatGPT, put them into Suno, say, I want you to make this sound like Lil Wayne and give me a hip hop beat. Boom, it creates that little thing. And I'm like, wow, imagine if I did that for Mandy and Amani's show where I create their own little hook and a thing. You're like, wow, this could be super fun. Well, you can make it just for this, or you can go all the way up to the food chain of using it to actually try and get on the charts there. So I'm completely unromantic about AI. Despite being an AI coach and the AI guy for everybody, I'm not wearing an AI shirt right now, right? It is just a tool. But here's the thing, and Amani, it actually goes to what the question you asked was. Everybody is so romantic about AI. If you jump on LinkedIn right now where we're streaming this, everybody's all huffy. Rob, I can tell you wrote this with AI. There's an M dash here. How dare you do that stuff, all of this stuff? No, drop all that stuff. It's just a tool to help us make these things happen. So when you come from this position, now when you look at, all right, I've used the Adobe Creative Suite for 15 years running a marketing agency. Photoshop, Adobe Audition. I've used Final Cut Pro. I've used CapCut. I've used Descript. I've used all of these various tools. But who's catching up or keeping up with how things are done now? And ChatGPT is even an example. For the last 3 years, ChatGPT was the king on the block of AI. Everybody uses it. It was the Xerox of the industry. Until about 8 weeks ago, when Claude delivered their Opus model and everything changed. And I'm not somebody who cares about model upgrades, right? Oh my God, this one's an inch better. This one does better at this. I don't care, right? So with this, what changed? Claude legitimately became the best AI tool out there by far. And you could debate what better means, but it went from chatbot to builder. So we started to see our first glimpses of what's called agentic AI, meaning it doesn't just respond. It's like, yo, dog, you want me to build that into a website for you? You're like,
yeah.
Wait, what? And here's what changed for me. So because of where I operate in the AI landscape at the top of the food chain, my peers are other AI coaches that are doing things that nobody else in the world is. So we're always just trading notes and sharing essentially conversations like this, but just straight, what are you doing? And one of my friends, Colin Scotland, shout out to Colin. We have a call every single week. And he says, Rob, over the weekend, and this is 8 weeks ago, Rob, over the weekend, I built 3 websites with Claude Code. And there's a seismic shift that just happened in AI that is bigger than when ChatGPT was invented. And I was like, well, I don't have to be told twice about this. So I then spent the next 3 days teaching myself Claude Code, but it didn't take 3 days to teach myself Claude Code. I spent 3 days taking a WordPress website that I'd used for a decade, hundreds of blog posts, SEO juice all over the place, foundationally built, designed by a world-class designer. And I moved the entire thing over with Claude and Claude Code in 3 days, fully migrated. And once I saw that with no experience, never having done it before, and it was my first touch of Claude Code, I was like, holy smokes. If this is what's possible when you never have done this before, everything is changing. So I share this because I then just looked at the tools of what I was using. Are they AI native or are they integrating to everything? So I'll give one tool that I'm using right now, totally not sexy, going to completely change the next decade of my business. Notion. Notion is just a project management system. I have no experience in Notion. I've never used Notion before in my life. But guess what I know about Notion? Notion connects to everything. Claude, ChatGPT, Manus, OpenClaw, all these platforms. And all of a sudden, I've got a background in something called personal knowledge management, PKM, which is all around your ability to capture, organize, distill, and execute any information that you see digitally and turn it from raw data into shipping it for your goals. And guess what? Notion became my second brain. So here's a very important thing that I want everyone to remember, and it will change the next decade of your business. And it goes back to what I was saying about the tools. Become tool agnostic. And here's what I mean by this. So many people right now have spent years in ChatGPT. I can't leave ChatGPT. It's got my voice. It's got my data. It's got my projects. It's got my custom GPTs. You know who's happy about that? OpenAI, because they got you. Instead, I want you to create a single source of truth. What that means is take everything in AI and get it out of AI. Why? Because if it's in AI, it's a parking lot. If it's out of AI, things can go and flow into it. So I turned Notion into what I call the gold vault, where Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, everything flows in documents into there. And now that becomes my central hub, my second brain of where everything flows into. So if ChatGPT goes away, if Claude goes away, it's all good. It's just a Tuesday for me. Why? Because all of my data lives where I know where it is.
Okay. Whew. Okay, so got some questions from the audience here. So let me go to those real quick.
Does any of that
People
make
are going to have
sense?
all of it, and people are going to have to stop and rewatch and re-listen because this is excellent information.
Yes, you're dropping gems here. So, Chloe Hammer, hope I said your last name right, Hamor. Thank you for tuning in. She says, I'm so worried about losing my voice and my critical thinking skills by depending on AI so much. She uses ChatGPT. For example, I've gotten nervous to send an email without having Chat polish it first. How do I balance?
Okay. Everything that we're going to do today is going to be straight gold. So when I share answers, it comes from love. And one of my core values is candor. So there's no judgment in anything that I say today. It is all I want to serve and help. So number one, and I don't say this sarcastically because it's actually the answer. If you have a thought or a question in your mind of something you don't like, let that be a trigger for let me put it into ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, right now I'm worried that my brain voice isn't scaling. I don't want to send an email without checking you first. But I feel kind of incongruent about that because I know I'm a human and you're a robot and I don't want to sound like a robot, but I don't want to slow myself down either. What do I do about this? Make this simple and easy to understand. Side note, write those last words down. At the end of all of your prompts, always put, make it simple and easy to understand. Why? I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I don't got a background in it. Make it simple for me, dog. Boom. So that's step one. Step number two is most people in their personalization have not put in a section that says, this is my brand voice. So here's my recommendation for you. Write down 7 to 10 words of what you sound like when you speak. And for most people, it's going to feel kind of foreign because you never like hey, Mandy, can I tell you the words of what I sound like? No, it's not natural. But you can sit there and for me, you're like, all right, well, I'm personable. I'm conversational. I'm respectful. I'm witty, but I'm brand safe. I'm not dropping F-bombs, right? So you can see this is what I sound like right here. That simple tuning right there will make your brand voice better. And then if you really want to get turbo level, like if someone's working with me, it's going to say, cool, let's build out your brand voice glossary. What you sound like, how do you like to write? What is your sentence structure? Let's take some examples of what you're currently doing for your writing, give them to Claude or ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to dial in how this sounds with AI. I want to give you some examples, and then I want you to mirror back to me what my brand voice actually sounds like. And then it goes, brrr. And then the good news is because we're listening to this conversation, we implemented the speed of instruction. You take that document, you put it into your second brain. So now that you have it forever, so that it can go into Claude, it can go into Gemini, it can go into Grok, and it can go anywhere. And you just label it brand voice DNA, right? And I've got resources everywhere where if you go to robcressy.com and you search my blog, I will give you the templates for all of these things. But the key to success in AI is how you think. There's nothing that I've said so far that is like speaking hieroglyphics, is it? It's just, oh, here's the thing that I want. Let's reverse engineer how to create it. Here's the document. Let's use it. And then let's make sure it's living somewhere where it's not in the AI. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Next question. We got a bunch here. Woo-hoo. Angela Bohannon asks, I'm switching over from ChatGPT to Claude. I just recently did the same thing, actually. I'm moving to Claude Code, and now I just started hearing about Claude Cowork. Any concern with Anthropic cutting off the agent platforms that help put Claude on the map?
No, so what she's likely referencing is that over the weekend, Anthropic said they are not allowing users who use OpenClaw to just plug in their Claude subscriptions and use OpenClaw into infinity for it, right? So that's the thing. And in the world of AI, OpenClaw equals open source. So it's like free for everybody there. Anthropic equals gated. Hey, you have to live in our ecosystem right there with it. Once again, this is why we want to be tool agnostic. So this is where one of my favorite quotes, the bigger the dreams, the deeper the foundation. So I want you to build your foundation for how you think, how you personalize, and how you create with AI. So you are not beholden to the platforms. You're not beholden to the way that things used to be done. You can roll in and you're like, what's good? I'm Mandy. I'm the coolest person in the world. Here's what I want to build. Here's my ideas. Here's my challenges and my friction. Let's reverse engineer this. Boom. Here I go. Because all of this for me and Mandy, this goes to the human first side of things. We are the boss. It is our assistant or our intern, right? So I prefer to call this co-creation, not outsourcing everything to AI. So Amani, back to your music example. Imagine the reframe being co-creation. Because if you could see my YouTube comments, because I run a YouTube channel, you can go to Rob Cressy, that has nothing but AI content, not AI generated. It's this conversation right here. Mm-hmm. But naturally, at a certain point, you're just going to start getting haters being like, you're doing that and wasting all the water in the world and AI sucks and the robots are taking over. Mm-hmm. And it's like, cool, but that's the lens that you chose for how you're seeing this game. For me, this is an extension of my creativity, not removing my creativity, because I care too much. I care the most about everything. So I want to be able to be felt in everything that I do, which is why these questions are great, because the subtext of what I hear is, Rob, I care, but I'm afraid that AI does not reflect my values or my voice. What do I do about this? And for that last question, go to robcressy.com and search my blog. Literally over the weekend, I created 2 resources specific to switching from ChatGPT to Claude, Claude to VS Code. Copy it, put it into your Claude and say, help me do this. Welcome to the next level.
Go ahead, Mandy.
Beautiful. Well, I love these swaps that you're putting in for people and the practical usage. You talked recently about managing mornings differently, managing mornings better. So, how can people use AI to be more productive first thing in the morning?
One word, intention.
Mm.
So here's another phrase that I want everybody to remember, and this alone will change your experience with AI. It is intention by design. So this essentially is saying we are thinking about how we are thinking about the thing that we're designing. You're like, wait, we're that good? Yeah. Because when you're the best in the world, we don't wing it. We design what we're going to do. But sometimes you're like, Rob, I don't even know what I'm designing right here. Cool. Let's use intention by design. So once again, the beauty of all of this is, which is what I love. This is just like my coaching, because all you have to do is say, this is what I want to create. And you've already told me what you want to create. Because Mandy, you said, I want to be better in the mornings. So if we use intention by design, you go, hey, Claude, I want to be better in the mornings. I want to use intention by design. Help me design a morning routine that I love. And ask me questions because I want to be in control of this. So once again, and the reason I repeat these things is because this is what I have to repeat in my own brain, right? If I have a thought, a question, a challenge, something that I want to create with AI, take what's in your head and get it out of your head. And the next thing I'm about to say will change the next decade of your business if you do this. So I'm going to get both of your answers to this. Mandy and Amani, do you guys type or speak into AI primarily?
Ooh, I just started using Willow so I can speak into AI.
What about you, Mandy?
I type.
Okay, cool. So I picked this up about a month ago from the coding team at Anthropic who created Claude. They said their entire team did not type a single line of code. They spoke the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why? You can speak 3 times faster than you can type.
Yeah.
What is the most important part of success in AI? Context. Write me a marketing strategy versus write me a marketing strategy where I create one short form video a day that leads with a hook where I batch record these things. And I want this to be about AI. One's generic, one's super specific. Well, if you can speak 3 times faster than you can type, you can also significantly create more context. So with no judgment, Mandy, because this was me for a long time, when we're writing, we're giving less context because it's harder to write.
Right.
But you can speak into it. So I use whisper flow. It's all the same difference. There's a little dictate button. So if you go on mobile for Claude or Chat GPT, it looks like a microphone, not the one that talks at you, just straight dictates. If you do this, you just push a button and you say, hey, Claude, I want to create a morning routine that serves me, that lights me up. I like to read. I don't want to be on my phone. And I would love to have some sort of mindfulness in there, but it's new for me. So help me install the habit. Make this simple and easy to understand. Boop. And then it'll go, and then you'll see the response. You're like, that's cool. I liked number 1, but I didn't like number 2. I also have a 4-year-old toddler and he gets up at all different times. So I need flexibility in this thing. Like, oh. So the key is you're about to watch the next decade of business. Everybody is only going to be speaking things. So we are entering the voice era of work.
Okay. So let's pause.
So good. So
We're gonna
good.
flip the script. We're gonna flip the script and let you ask both Mandy and myself questions. Any question you want to ask us is on limits. And who do you want to ask a question to first? And what is said question?
Mandy, this question is for you. And both of you actually created this question yourselves based on my listening.
Fun.
Mandy, you said the term rad women. My mind immediately went to, there's an opportunity for you, and you are one of the raddest people I've ever met, right? When you and I were at Jesse Itzler's Built to Speak, I loved you. I loved your energy, the way you were on stage. You're just this enthusiasm that's contagious about you. What would it look like if your lens of how you used AI was rad all the time?
Ooh. God, what does it look like? I mean, I think from the words being used and the actions being taken and just the interaction back. I mean, I think the provoking the interaction back would be equally rad. Like, it's not just me putting it out there. It's like you're bringing so much back. It's this exchange back and forth. I hadn't thought about that way before. It's a good question.
What if it was rad energy? What if you just wrote in there and you're like, hey, ChatGPT, I've decided that moving forward, the relationship that I have with you is rad all of the time. Everything we do, my business, my personal life, my mindset, I want it to be rad. To get this started, based on all of our conversations, show me all of the ways we can be rad together. Ooh. Show me where I'm rad in all areas of my life. Give me a rad blueprint. And then you're like, let's move over to Claude. And you're like, hey, Claude, right now I want everything to be rad. So I want to create a rad skill. Every time I create with you, when I say turn this into the rad skill, we're going to design something that immediately makes us a 15 out of 10, AKA more rad. And then we're going to create a system and a process around it, because now your brand is all around taking what's normal and making it rad. And all you're going to do is have a better system for making everything rad.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. That's rad. That's the raddest.
Mandy, where does your mind go first? So what is the first rad thing you would do with this?
The first thing that comes to mind is just stimulating a higher vibration of an interaction with people, right? Because I come into a space, I come into a room, I know I bring energy. That's just how I'm wired. But sometimes it's too much for people. Sometimes people are skeptical of it. Like the responses are different, right? It's rare, maybe 50% of the time. Like, Rob, you have amazing energy, right? So like when I met you, I'm like, we could talk all day. Like we did. And I think most of the people in that room were very similar, right? Like everybody had rad energy. But the first thing I think of when you're saying that is I would like for the energy to come back the same or more, right? Like build it up even more. It's just that knowledge exchange.
Mandy, have you ever thought that RAD could also be an acronym?
No.
What does RAD stand for? Radiant, alive. What would D mean?
I don't know.
Delightful.
Delightful.
Mandy is rad, radiant, alive, and delightful. Yes. And then welcome to my rad program, right? So like, this is self-creation 101. Hey, these are my words. Now let's reverse engineer it. Now let's turn this into a lead magnet for people who want to create a rad podcast. And then you're like, cool. Now create me a rad email marketing sequence. Make it 7 things, lead with a hook, have a CTA. And you're like, oh, wait, what? All of this is possible? Yeah. So like when I bring this oftentimes candid or blunt view of how you can see AI, is because everything is possible. If you can legitimately be like, well, after this podcast with Rob, I'm actually going all in on my rad brand. But that's a real thing that can happen, because all of us have an opportunity to change our life at a moment's notice. And there has never been a better time to make your dreams happen than right this moment, because we can create rad dreams. We can create anything. So it's like, this is what I love about this is a portal of possibility, but it's all around the lens for how you see it. How do you think? And how you want to create. This has nothing to do with tech. It has nothing to do with tools. It has everything to do with you and what you want to create.
Yes. Oh, that's powerful. I love it. Great question.
Okay. What about my question?
So
what about my question? Marsha.
Amani, I keep going back to your music example because it's a great one. And What I'm curious about is for you to describe your lens for how you see the game of AI for yourself.
Okay. I'm going to answer kind of with the music perspective because, like, as a professional DJ and I coach a lot of musicians and artists, some answer from, and I wrote 2 books on the music industry. So I will say that I like to use AI as a tool. I promote using AI as a tool to kind of help you. If you're a musician, you can use it to create a reference track. You can use it to research lyrics, etc. Use it as a tool. Particularly, I think that the music industry is a little bit behind because they could use AI to help with all these unclaimed royalties. I think there's a huge opportunity there for unclaimed royalties with the use of AI. For me, where I kind of have like a line is that there's certain things that AI can do and can't do. Like if you're at a live show and you're actually witnessing an artist sing, like you can't really have an AI artist there singing in front of you. You could have an avatar or like they do the things with ABBA now with the holograms. You could have that, but that's gonna wear old pretty quickly. But there's nothing like someone singing a song in front of you and their voice cracks because they're having a memory about when the lyrics that they wrote, like maybe they got their heart broken, they lost a family member. So instead of singing it perfectly in like the 1, the 5, the 4, the 1 chords and going perfectly, maybe their voice cracks and they go off key. But it works because it's them naturally. So that's kind of my perspective. It can't take away the organic performance live where new things are being made. Like for example, AI wouldn't be able to predict how successful Jimi Hendrix version of the Star Spangled Banner was when it hadn't been done before. And when he did it, people hated it at first. So that's kind of my perspective. And that's how I answer that question.
Okay, I'll yes and you because you said something that's very valuable that I love that I'm the AI guy and I'm also not the AI guy. Painters love to paint. They don't only paint to sell paintings. If you only did it to sell, you would never paint.
Right.
Creators love to create. So when AI came around, I didn't sit there and go, well, what's this doing about my authenticity? Or, oh my God, is a robot leading everything? No, I'm a creator. I love to create. This is a new tool to create. As a musician, musicians love to play music. Anybody who's played guitar their whole life isn't going to be like, well, AI can play guitar. I'm done. No, we enjoy playing music because we enjoy playing music. So the question of AI plus music, it's layered because at the heart of this is the thing that we love to do. And how can this support us in it? As opposed to look at all the AI music at the top of the charts. And I know you're not saying this is good or bad, but my perspective always comes from the creator. If you love to do something, let's do more of it and let AI amplify it. It will only do the things you want it to do. So much of the noise out there is misplaced focus. I remember when ChatGPT first came out, everyone's like, it told me George Washington went to the moon. Look how dumb it is. And I'm like, irrelevant to me. How do you turn $1 into $1.50? I'm using this to grow my business, not to debate the accuracy of the moon landing in George Washington. So if you remove that which does not serve you, all the stranger danger, doesn't mean we're blind to it. But what are you focusing on? I'm focusing on being the best, being rad, having an awesome time. And here's the thing, the rest of the world isn't like this. So the reason I show up this way and use human first, heart first is because I know what the world's about to do. And Amani, you're talking about it. They're about to outsource their authenticity and connection to the robots. It's why, Mandy, I loved connecting with you because I got to connect with you as a human. I love that feeling and I want more of it. In the world, once they start to catch up to this, is just going to abuse this and do less of the stuff that they used to. And we're going to sit here and our advantage is going to be being more human.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. I really do. I agree. Yeah.
We have some final questions, and I'm gonna let Mandy have a chance for final questions. So I'm gonna ask one for myself, one from Lori Kime, and then Mandy. Mine's a 2-part question. If we could go back and talk to Rob when he was graduating from Miami of Ohio and give him advice based on everything you've learned since graduation, what would advice be to your younger self? That's part 1.
Number one, man, I am such a different human. Like if I can picture exactly who that person is right there. the one piece of advice that I would tell him is start reading books. I did not have self-awareness or a growth mindset until I was 30 years old. K through 12, 4 years of college, and a decade in corporate America, and never once did anybody say, Rob, this is what self-awareness is, or Rob, this is what mindset is. Blows my mind, right? I can never assume that. And the thing that changed my life was, so I started to read like Inc. magazine and Fast Company, and you would hear the average CEO reads 60 books a year. And after you hear it like 20 times, and I sat there and I was like, I'm reading zero. Crap. And because I just left a multiple six-figure job to go all in on my dreams and I'm at zero, I was like, I got to do something about this. So if something's important enough, you'll always find time to make it happen. When is there always time? First thing in the morning. Yeah. So for the last 16 years, every single morning, first thing in the morning, weekends included, the first thing that I have done is read a book for 30 minutes because I see my dreams on the other side of getting better. Well, if I would have had those other 10 years in between 20 and 30 to be able to do that, I wouldn't have had the hardest time of my life, because between 20 and 30 was very challenging for me because I was not this person.
Okay. Since you mentioned reading, both Mandy and I are authors, multiple books for both of us. Do you recommend, do we upload our books to these AI platforms to help us better be positioned as a subject matter expert?
For you to use it or for other people to use it?
Like, we have our PDFs, we have our final copies of our books. We want, when people are searching on ChatGPT or Claude, they say, I'm looking for like the best music business coach who can help me make more money. Or I'm searching for this expert in sales or this expert in R&B music that can help me refine my work. We want us to pop up. Do we need to upload our books to ChatGPT and Claude to make that happen? What are your thoughts?
No, I want you to use that data for yourself. So flip it the other way. You use that book as training data for your personalization. Why? Because this is how I write. This is how I sound like. This is what I think. This is the essence of who I am. Imagine if your AI knew all of what was in the book about you to build that thing out there. No, I'm not someone who believes in just like, we need to give everything to the AI. I turned off training data on mine. So everything that I'm doing, I'm not about that life there. As a coach, which is similar to being an author from a certain perspective, free attracts free. I understand we can create positive impact for others, but there is an extra step when you're a person who purchases a book and reads a book and finishes a book. That's part of the experience, and that is just as applicable to reading as it is to AI. So remember this. The reason why there's such a gap in AI right now is because it's super easy to do nothing. And so many people talk, but don't put in the work. So we are now in the ultimate show me your receipts era. Well, guess what? The three of us on this call, we specialize in receipts because here it is, and here it is. And for everybody else, they can tell you why things don't work. Show me your receipts.
Amen. Okay, Lori's got a question, then over to Mandy. Lori asks, and thank you for your patience, Lori. What's something in your life you would never use AI for, and what is the most shocking thing that AI will be able to do in a year from now?
So here is what I always like to say to pretty much any one of my clients is, I would rather teach you how to fish than give you a fish. So here is the homework that I give every client after the first call, and it's how you get better at AI. I want you to create 3 non-business use cases for how you use ChatGPT or Claude. Why? Because your key to success in AI is the more you see, the more you can see. So most people start with, I use it for email. Oh, I use it for ideas. Cool. But Mandy, we took this to taking the word RAD, pulling it apart, putting it in an acronym, turning it into a program, turning that into a lead magnet. Once you see that once, you're like, oh, I can now do this every single time. But the challenge most people have is the bridge. They say, I never would have thought of that, or I just didn't think of that. So here's the example. So I've used AI for the weirdest things possible. So number one, we bought a new TV and we put it in the back of our sedan, and the TV barely fit. And you put it in there, boom. Well, guess what? When it came time to get that TV out, it didn't come out. And I get it. You're pulling a TV box out of a car, but it ain't coming out of the car. So I popped open ChatGPT, took a picture, said, listen, this box got into the TV. It's not coming out. I understand all we're doing is pulling out a box. What can I do to get this box out of my car? Because this thing does not come in. And it was like, up. So it gave me it. So I saw problem. Can't get the box out of my car. Solution. Ask ChatGPT. The next one. I would not consider myself a modern day Bob Vila, right? I'm more Tim the Toolman Taylor than Handyman. Well, the lever on our toilet broke in my guest bathroom right here. And I sat there, and even with the instructions, I'm like, this does not make sense to me. So all I did, boop, pop a picture. Hey, ChatGPT, this is what I'm seeing. Walk me through this step by step. So, and then I'll give a last example. And this was one because I have a child, a 4-year-old, is I wanted to spend more time with my son, especially as it got closer to bedtime. And I wanted to create some bonding time. So I popped open ChatGPT and I said to my son, Maverick, I was like, Maverick, tell me an idea of what you want daddy to create. And he goes, I want to create a rainbow dinosaur in a farm. So I went to ChatGPT. I was like, create me an image of a rainbow dinosaur in a farm designed for a 3-year-old. And then I hit enter. And then I popped open the phone this way. And I was like, watch, buddy. 3, 2, 1, make that dino. And then like 10 seconds later, it pops up. And he's like, oh my God, I love playing Make That Dino. So now we created a bonding experience where we play Make That Dino. And my favorite one was my son said, Dad, I want you to make me a character named Mud in Mud. I was like, Mud in Mud.
Such a boy. Such a little boy.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, make Mud in Mud. And it ended up creating this cartoon character of mud sitting in mud and had a shirt on that said Mud. Guess who has become the number one person in our house for like a year running? Mud. Right? Mud is okay. So a long-winded answer of anything that is non-business will help you see the bridge to what you can create for business. And I call this signal recognition. Your ability to take the universe. Mandy said the word rad. I heard it and I was like, boom, there's a signal. Amani said the word music. I was like, man, there's something here. Your ability to literally look around your room. So Mandy, you don't know this, but when you started this live stream, I saw over your right shoulder, it says the word one small. And I was like, ooh, there's a thing there. You might have looked at that 1,000 times. Have you ever taken what that is and put that into AI?
No.
Imagine you taking that and saying, there's something in here that's gold and rad. Help me see it.
Yeah.
All it is a possibility of creation, right? Mm-hmm. It's not, is AI bad or good? It's, hey, there's a thing over here. Let's turn this into a thing.
Yeah.
Long-winded answer, but that's how you teach people how to fish.
What I love about what you're saying is it's so much more than just the machine and the robot. Like it's, in a sense, this is retraining our brain to look for possibilities. Like it's like a treasure hunt or keeping your antenna up or really looking at things in a different way. And I'd really invite people to consider that you're looking at things in a completely different way. You're not just not thinking for yourself. You're actually opening up your peripheral vision to a bunch of possibilities. That's the big takeaway I'm getting from this conversation.
Everything you need is already inside of you.
Yeah.
It's like, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your visions? What are your challenges? What do you want to do more of? What do you not want to do more of? What do you want in the morning? What do you want in the evening? How do you want your relationships to be? How do you want to land the biggest client in your life? How do you want to write better emails? How do you want to use music in a human first, heart first way, in a way that rides up the charts? How do I make $1 bajillion? How do I turn the word rad into speaking on stage in a sold out arena? So this is a canvas. And when I say this is all around how you see the game, there is no ceiling. You can create whatever you want. And we're all sitting here tripping about, oh my God, you're writing with M dashes. Throw that in the trash. I'm going to be so good with AI that you want to hire me, like legit.
Yeah. Well, you've spent more than an hour with us. You've blown our minds up. This is so amazing. You've given us so much. How can we support you? How can we lift you up after the show or right now?
So I love to help everybody. So if you're inspired by this, shoot me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram. DM me the word Mandy, Mandi, and I will send you my best AI resource that I have right now to help you along on your journey. I've got a YouTube channel. Just search Rob Cressy. You can subscribe there. It's just straight AI content for people with non-technical backgrounds that want to use this in this perspective. And then I've got a podcast called The Undeniable Leader, which is all around being undeniable and how you show up in your business and in your life.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. Send the DMs, friend. Put Mandy in there. Rob's going to send you some treats. Love that.
Yeah. Round of applause here for Rob. Thank you very much for joining us.
So good.
All right.
So
yes.
good.
Yes. We're going to, let me put that here now. We're going to do that, the clapping there. We are going to put you in the green room really quickly and just stay there real momentarily. And thanks again. Okay, Mandy, another great show. I need to go review several times to get my notes in order. Who do we have to look forward to next week?
Next week, we have Lori Liu from Jump Consulting. I think this is one of your friends, Manny.
Okay. We will have Lori coming up next week. Yes, she was referred to us from Lindell. She comes from Lindell.
Awesome.
Lindell Larkin. So that's good. All right. Well, thank you again to Rob for being our guest. Make sure when you're watching, please rate, review, and subscribe on the platform that you're watching or listening on. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, and we will see you back here next Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. on the West, for another live episode of Adventures in Business Live.
And be like Rob Cressy. Be like Rob and create your personalization in your Claude or ChatGPT or whatever your program is. Get it going.
Yes. Get it going.
Get rad.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
All right, hold on here.